Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I am the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I would like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is part of a five-step series of webinars specifically designed for members, especially new members that are just getting into BNI Connect and just learning some of the things about BNI Connect. This first step that we're going to talk about today is called it's going to be all about filling out your profile. So logging into BNI Connect, making sure that you're putting your best foot forward when other people are searching for you, when people are finding you on the internet. I'm going to show you all of the places that your profile shows up in BNI Connect as well as on the public internet, how to fill out your profile, what's important to fill out right away, ways that you can optimize being found, and finally, how to make sure that it's updated in all places. A couple of housekeeping things before we get started today. The first of which is that this is a live webinar. So that means if you have any questions whatsoever as we're going through the material today, please do feel free to ask those questions. I'll be able to see those questions pop up on my screen and I'll be able to answer them as we're going through the content today. The best way to ask those questions is to type them in. You'll see a questions panel right in the GoToWebinar software. We are recording this webinar. We do record all of our webinars. You'll be able to find the recording in a couple of different places. The first of which is on the support site. Now, to get to the support site, you can go to support.bniconnect.com. Again, support.bniconnect.com, or if you're logged into BNI Connect as I am here, you'll see a question mark in the upper right-hand corner. That question mark, by clicking on it, that will take you over to the support site. And here, the first thing you'll see is all of our upcoming webinars. As I said, this is part of a five-part series, first of which is Complete Your Profile. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about giving and tracking referrals online, or the online slips process. Thursday, we'll be talking about connecting with other members, and the last two in the series will be next week. But if you scroll down past this just a little bit to the chapter training, you'll see recorded webinars. And all of our June webinars are here from last month, so you can click through and review any of these. And very shortly, we'll have all the July webinars as well. If you'd like to, you can also go directly to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And up here, we have a ton of recorded content. So we have some announcements from Dr. Meisner. We have all of our webinars going back for the past couple of years. We also have things like educational moments, short 3 to 5 minute videos specifically designed for you to use at your chapter meetings as educational moments. All right, let's go to the topic today, and that is going to be, how do you complete your profile to get the best visibility and credibility out there in BNI Connect land, as well as on the general internet itself. So before we do that, let's look at where does the profile show up? There's a number of places that it shows up. So the first place is if you're logged into BNI Connect. So I'm logged into BNI Connect here. If you scroll down a little bit to the bottom, to the footer, you can click on the profile button, or the link here at the bottom, the profile link at the bottom. That will take you to a view of your profile. So this is what you look like when people use this magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner to search for people. This is what you look like to other BNI members around the world. You can see that it has your name and your business and your industry. You can even put a video embedded into your My Business. It has your keywords, your company, your logo, all your contact information, your social media links. There's also tabs along the top here that they can view for additional information about you. So they can look at your bio tab and they can see your weekly presentations and your gains profile, your tops profile. We're supposed to be doing a gains exchange before a one-to-one with people to get to know them a little better before we sit down with them. As long as you have your profile filled out, they can just look you up in BNI Connect and you can do a gains exchange right here. There's also the connections. People will be able to see and click through to all the people that you're connected with, very similar to LinkedIn. There's also testimonials. As people leave you testimonials throughout BNI, they will all appear on your profile here within BNI Connect. So people can read your testimonials, which is of course a huge credibility builder. There's also a photo sharing library. So you can upload up to 20 photos that you're sharing with people. They could be silly photos. They could be networking photos. They could be gratuitous photos of your kids. They could be credibility building photos such as pictures of your business, of things you do. You can even upload things like client testimonials right up to this site as well. So that's a great place to share those. People can see what groups or discussions you're participating in or groups that you've created as well. Those will all be listed on the Groups tab. And finally, you'll have your training history so people can see what types of trainings you've attended. So this is all on the inside of BNI Connect. Again, people can find you by doing the search here. There's also the outside of BNI Connect, so all of the public sites, and there's 3 distinct public sites that people that don't even have a BNI membership can find you on. So the first of which is, let's go to bniamerica.com. So every country in BNI in the world has their own country-based website. The UK has one, New Zealand has one. Here in the United States, we're at bniamerica.com. And up here on this website, people can find a member. They can search by categories. They can search by a whole bunch of things. They can even just search by name, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to search for my name here, Jeremy Walsh. And the one exact Jeremy Walsh here in the United States, that's me in South Kingstown, Rhode Island, where I am a member. And here it's very similar to the inside profile. There's a little bit less information that we're sharing with the public. For example, we're not sharing testimonials with the public. Those are things just between other BNI members. However, it does have my picture, my logo, all of my phone numbers, my website, my social media links. It's got my TOPS profile, which is the ideal referral, top product, my business description. All of this is found just on the public websites. And just to give you an example, if I just do a Google search here for Jeremy Walsh BNI, the very first result here is my profile on my chapter website. So this is a second place. This is a unique URL that is showing up on my chapter website. So again, it's the same profile, just at a different location. And again, this is on the public internet. Google is indexing these sites as well. The final place that this is going to be is on our regional website. So if I go back to our regional website, which is bniri.com, and I go to find a member, I find myself here again. And again, this is another unique URL that is going to display my profile. All of this happens by updating your profile in BNI Connect. Once you update it in BNI Connect, it will update it on all of the websites and the internal site as well. Because if you don't update your profile, this is what a default non-filled out profile looks like. This is up in my test region in Antarctica, but Frosty the Snowman up there, you can see that he has not yet filled out his profile, and this is what a not filled out profile would look like. Now there's a big difference between this and this. Here, there's really no way to get in touch with Frosty. I mean, it does have a phone number, so that's good. At least he's sharing his phone number. But the rest of the information is not available. So how do we update this information in BNI Connect? Well, if you're on your profile page, you can click on Update Profile. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to the home screen when you first log in, and there's 2 places that you can click. The first one is Update Profile My BNI page. If I click this, this will go into all my profile settings and I'll be able to update it. The second way, from any other page within the system, you can go to Options, My Account. Both of these things will take you to the same place. So I'm going to click on Update Profile. And what you'll see here is that your profile is broken into tabs along the top. You have your user profile tab, your main profile, your user profile tab, your contact details tab, your account settings tab, your bio tab. If you are a director, it'll also have a director profile tab. And finally, your training history. So let's take a look at what each of these tabs do and what information is loaded on them, what you can change, what you can't change. So the first one is this main profile tab. And the main profile tab has some very basic information. So it has your name and your company name. Most of the time, you will have to request a change to those because it does need to match the physical paperwork that's in the office. So it will have to match the application, for example, has to have the same name and company name in BNI Connect that it would have on the paper application. So in order to change those, you would have to request a change from your regional office. Now, a couple of things going down here. The registered tax office and VAT reference number. These are two things that we really don't use here in the United States. However, many countries do need to display those, especially Australia and New Zealand. They need to have the registered tax office as part of their profile. And a lot of places like the UK, they use VAT reference numbers. VAT stands for value added tax. So that's something that they would have to fill in. But here in the United States, we can just leave those blank. Your industry and classification and chapter. Again, all of those are just going to be read only. So it's showing you the closest thing that was available at the time that the application was put in. If you do need a change to the industry or classification, you would need to talk to your chapter and or your director consultant. Now, going down towards the bottom of the page, these are really the first places that you're going to spend some time really editing and putting in some quality information. The My Business description. This one is kind of like I've heard it described as the elevator pitch. So think of when you go to your weekly chapter meeting and you go to open networking, that first 15 minutes of the meeting, and you meet somebody new. So let's say a visitor has come to visit and you've never met them before. How would you describe your business in just a couple of seconds to that visitor who's never met you before? Some notes about the My Business. You definitely want to keep it kind of short and sweet, especially if you're typing it all out. People don't read a lot of text on websites, so they're looking to skim through it quickly. So you want to make sure you have your important things about what you do. You can use HTML formatting in this My Business, so you don't have to. That's completely optional. For example, if you want to do paragraph spacing or bold or things like that, you can do that type of coding in this particular field, which also does allow you to post a video. Posting a video within here, you do have to host that video on a video sharing site such as YouTube or Vimeo, something like that. And what you can do is take that embed code and drop it right into this My Business description. Pretty easy to do once you upload your video, for example. I'm going to go to YouTube and then BNI Connect Global. So if you have a channel on YouTube, free and easy to create, all you need to do is go and pick your video, and within that video there's going to be share option. Click on the embed code, and all you really need to do is copy and paste this code. You may want to make it slightly smaller first. You probably want to make this somewhere in the 200 width range so that you can fit it within the allocated space. But once you get that iframe code, really what you want to do is just copy this and paste it right into the My Business description, and then it will show up as a video on your profile. The next thing you want to spend a little bit of time on is the keywords. And the keywords are possibly the second most important thing that you need to have on your profile. And the reason for that is that when people are doing searches in BNI Connect, whether they're doing searches in the members only portal or whether they're doing searches on the public internet side, like your regional website or your country website, most of the time they're not searching by your name. They're searching by what they're looking for. They're looking for a computer consultant. They're looking for a massage therapist. They're looking for a divorce attorney. Now, our industry and classification are, they're pretty cut and dry. It's just one thing. However, you may need to expand upon that based on, what people are looking for. So, for example, I do computer and computer services, but I've put other things that I think people might be looking for, such as consultant or server or Windows or consulting. Notice that I put consultant and consulting in there because they're two different words. So if somebody's doing a search for consultant, if I didn't have consulting in there, they're not going to find me. Other things that you can do in here is to use locations as well. So when BNI Connect does a search, and keep in mind we are a database search, not as opposed to a full algorithmic guess at what you're looking for search like a Google, we do need to be a little bit more specific in what we're being looked for. So it will search for example, against my address, and my address of my business is here in Rhode Island, in South Kingstown, Rhode Island. However, if you know anything about Rhode Island in the United States, Rhode Island is the smallest state in the country. It is a mere 20 miles wide by 40 miles long. So that means that a lot of people here in Rhode Island do business outside of Rhode Island as well. So I wanted to be found if people were doing a search for Massachusetts and Connecticut as well, so I put those abbreviations in. Now, if you're from a bigger state, let's say Florida or California, Texas, pretty much any other state besides Rhode Island, you may want to put the names of cities in here. So, for example, you may have a business in Tampa, Florida, but you also want to be found in Miami or some other close city to that, or if you live in San Diego and want to also be found in Los Angeles, or you're willing to do business in Los Angeles, you want to make sure that you put the names of those cities in here as well, as that way you would be found in those cities also. If you make any changes to this page, make sure you click the Update button. Keep in mind that, especially for the My Business description and a lot of the other things that you're typing in, those will take effect immediately. So if I was to make changes to this, they would show up on all those public websites and on my profile right away. Now, the second tab is your user profile tab, and this is really your login account information. So you can change your username anytime you want to just by clicking on Change Username. It does need to be unique, and it can't include any spaces, but other than that, as long as it has characters and numbers and letters and pretty much anything goes there. The memorable question and answer, you will need to type in something that you will be able to remember and answer correctly. The way this works is if you forget your password, so I'm going to open up a new browser window here, and let's say that I have forgotten my username and password. I can't log in. I can click on Forgot Password or Username. I need to type in my email address that's on my record, and then type in the CAPTCHA code. And BNI Connect, it will search through the database and find my email address, and then it will ask me my challenge question. So it's asking me what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow. If I can answer this correctly, then it will allow me to reset my password and create a new password for myself. So you do need to make sure that this is something that you recognize and you're able to answer. Of course, the answer is case sensitive. So this 27 miles per hour, if I had a capital H in here, I would have to make sure I remember to put a capital H in. Or if I had two spaces at the end of this, I'd have to remember that there's spaces at the end of this or in between words in order to get that answer correct. You can choose what language you would like BNI Connect to display in. Keep in mind that it is translated in over 40 different languages and dialects, including a dozen different versions of English. Make sure your time zone is correct, and you can also upload a profile image and company logo. If you'd like to do that, click on Change Company Logo, for example. If you have one there, you can delete it. You can also just click on Attach Image and go and search for a new logo. So let's say that I'd like to upload this other logo here. I can click Save, and now this other logo will display on my profile. All right, let's take a look at the next tab here. The next tab is the Contact Details tab, and this will have all your contact details on it. So really it's your phone numbers, your social media addresses, your names, your website, your physical and billing address. The most important thing on this page is this first option at the top. It says, Show me on the BNI public website. If this is unchecked, you will not be found on your regional website. You will not be found on bniamerica.com. In order to be found on the public websites, you need to put a check mark in this box. Once you've done that, make sure you go through and update all your phone numbers and fax numbers, and if you still have a pager number. You can also choose which ones of these will display on the website. You can add a number of social media links in here as well. And you can also choose your addresses as well as which one will appear on the public website. Now, if you don't want to share your address, you can just put in something like by appointment only, or unlisted, or anything like that that hides your physical address. You do need to have a legal address here in the billing address portion, though, because that is how your regional office will get in touch with you if they need to mail you something or mail you a letter or anything like that. The next tab has to do with your internal member-to-member settings. So whereas this tab, the contact details, this is all on the public website, so on the regional and the national websites. The account settings has to do with what information you're sharing with other members within the logged in portion of BNI Connect. So you can show which of your tabs you're going to show to people. And the bottom part is about notifications. So you have your email notifications. When you're part of a group, you'll be notified when new posts are created. You can choose every time. You can choose once per day digest or once per week digest, or opt out entirely. And finally, the email forwarding. The email forwarding only has to do with the connection requests, recommendation requests, and that are listed here. It does not forward any of the other things in the system, like referral notifications or renewal reminders or event reminders or anything else. The bio tab is going to take a little while to fill out. There's a lot of information to get onto this page. The bio, my bio portion, that should look pretty familiar. This is the same form that we fill out before our 10-minute presentation at our chapter. The nice thing about this is that if you can fill this out in BNI Connect, your secretary-treasurer won't have to chase you before your presentation at your chapter. The next two are the weekly presentations. Now, why would we bother putting in our weekly presentations here into BNI Connect? Well, one of the reasons is that in BNI Connect, there's 170,000 active members worldwide. 170,000 members. Now, I can guarantee that 169,900 and maybe 50 of them will never be at one of your chapter meetings to hear you give your 60-second weekly presentation. However, if you have them displayed on your profile, they can read them and get a better idea of what it is you're looking for. Now, the gains profile, again, that's goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. Take some time to fill that out as well. Keep in mind that you do want to make sure you click the update button every now and again, especially on this page. BNI Connect does have a 30-minute timeout. So if you don't have any activity on the page in 30 minutes, it will log you out of the system. And if you haven't saved these details, you will lose them. So be sure to click update every once in a while. And then finally, the TOPS profile, the ideal referral, top product, top problem, favorite BNI story, and my ideal referral partner. If you only have a couple of minutes to get started with this, my recommendation is you jump right down to the TOPS profile. The reason for that is that this appears on both the member-to-member profile as well as on the regional and national websites. So this TOPS profile is part of both profiles, whereas the rest of the information, the gains profile, the commercials, things like that, that's only available within BNI Connect to other members. If you are a director, you'll have a director profile where you can put your director-specific information. And finally, you have your training history. This should list all of the training events that you've attended, such as member success programs and regional leadership team training, things like that. I do recommend that if you see anything missing on here, you can't edit it yourself. However, you can contact your regional office and they can manually add the missing events in. Once you've got everything in there, do be sure to hit the update button. And now your profile will be filled out. If you'd like to see what you look like, you can always go to this magnifying glass and search for yourself. Just do a search for, just do a search for your name. Click on your name, and you will see your profile. Of course, you can always just click that profile button at the bottom. And that, my friends, is how to fill out your profile in BNI Connect. What I'd like to do is to open this up to questions. Does anybody have any questions? I would be absolutely happy to answer those questions at this time. Mary says, could you please touch back on the gains profile or something that has to be filled out before having a one-to-one? So if you think back to your member success program, or if you haven't attended to member success program yet, what you'll learn about in the member success is that before you have a one-to-one with somebody, you should be doing what's called the gains exchange. Now, traditionally, what we used to do before BNI Connect is we'd have a piece of paper that had goals, accomplishments, interest, network, skills on it. We would fill out that piece of paper, and then, believe it or not, we would fax it to the other person, and then eventually we started scanning it and emailing it. And finally, here in BNI Connect, once you fill it out on your profile, people can just look up your profile and view that right there in BNI Connect without having to fax it or email it. So does that answer your question, Mary? Let's see, Crystal says, can you review how to link social media pages? Absolutely, sure. So if I go to update profile my BNI page, and I'm going to go to the contact details page, for example. Now, what you need to do is, let's say that I want to put my Facebook page in here. So I'm going to take my Facebook page out. What you want to do is go to, for example, Facebook, and I'm going to go back to my own personal account here, and basically click on your name, and that'll bring you to your page. What you want to do is copy what's up here, facebook.com/TRC Jeremy, for example. And what I'm going to do is in my profile, I'm going to click on Facebook and click add. And here's where I'm going to put in. I'm just going to copy and paste it. Now, one thing I do recommend is to take out the S for HTTP. And it's kind of silly, but the reason for that is that on the public websites, that'll make that little F icon appear. If the HTTPS is in there, then it won't show up. So, Crystal, does that help? Is that what you were looking for? Excellent. Mary says, I was inducted, looks like a few weeks ago, approximately. How long does it take before I'm set up on a member of BNI Connect? Also, I've been registering for other events as a non-member. So, Mary, let me see if you're active in the system. Let me just do a search for you. You can do this from your regional site as well. So if you're not showing up here, so what it should happen fairly quickly, like within a week or two. It does. What I would say is to contact your regional office. Mary, where are you a member? What state, what city are you a member in? Okay, so Phoenix. So what you're going to want to do is if I go to BNI, I think it's BNI Arizona, let's see. So bniarizona.com and click on the contact page. What you want to do is speak with your regional office. So here's a number right here for you to call, 602-788-1606. And they should be able to help you out with that. Okay? But yes, you should be in the system very shortly, if not already. And then you'll get your invitation to register on BNI Connect as soon as that is done. All right. Do we have any other questions? Crystal said, can I add links to Yelp? What about the Better Business Bureau? Let me let you in on a little secret here. That is something that I have been asked on occasion. The descriptive names for them really don't show up anywhere. So for example, if you want to put in multiple Facebook links, like for example, I have my personal Facebook link, I have my BNI Connect Global Facebook link, and I have my personal business Facebook link. Since there's only one Facebook one, I put the other ones under Ning and Sun Tzu. Same thing with Yelp and Better Business Bureau. What I would say is just pick one of the ones that you're not using, and you can put it in under that one. Let me just show you what I mean by it not showing up anywhere. If I go to my profile and I look here, social networking links, it doesn't have the descriptive name in front of any of them. It just has the icons. And it's the same thing on the public websites. So if I go out to bniri.com, I go to my chapter site, I'm going to go to my regular profile. So you'll notice here under social networking links, it doesn't say Sun Tzu or Ning in front of those other profiles. So the one place it does show up is under your connections. So if I go to network connections, and if I look at one of my connections here, I'm just going to randomly choose somebody. But here it does list out Twitter, LinkedIn, and things like that. But to be honest with you, the more important place is the public site. they're not showing up there. So we're still looking for a future better workaround for that, but for now, that should at least get those up there for you. All right. What other questions? That was the last question I have in my questions window. All right. So if there's no additional questions, what I will do is to thank you all for being here today. Just a reminder, step 2, passing online referrals. That is going to be tomorrow at the same time. So at 3 o'clock Eastern time, noon Pacific, we're going to talk about the whole referral process in BNI Connect. How do you input the slips and the CEUs and the one-to-one slips and what happens when you do it and who gets notified and all of that stuff. We're going to talk about that tomorrow, giving and tracking referrals. And then on Thursday this week, we're going to go into connecting with other members. So we're going to go into the social media side of things. So I urge you to please register for those. And a good referral from me is to please let your other chapter members, especially the other new members in your chapter or people that might be afraid of BNI Connect or not using BNI Connect, please let them know about these webinars and ask them to register. I would love to have more and more people on the webinars. Again, thank you guys so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Have a great day, everyone. Happy connecting.